This is going to be a pretty quick, kind of poorly edited or less edited video of mine. I just kind of have all of the Fortnite and the Fortnite collab Overwatch models, and then the actual Overwatch models in the in Blender. I managed to port them. It kind of gave me an excuse to kind of learn to do that. I'm not going to look at the UV textures or anything. This is more just like I wanted to see what kind of proportionally they changed, how Fortnite kind of standardizes every model, and then little things. I already kind of picked up on some of the differences in a couple of the models, but some other things too that maybe just find interesting. So you guys don't have to do it. Instead, we can find it here, because I did notice something with Tracer's model. I clocked it almost as soon as I looked in the Fortnite item shop, and I was right after comparing the two. So let's give it a look, starting with, oh, Mercy. So the one on the left is from in-game, and then the one on the right is from Fortnite. I did try to scale all of the characters to be the same height as their in-game model, so that's interesting. I don't know if the models I ported from the game are one-to-one with the in-game height, because I'm pretty sure D.va's 5'6" and then Tracer's 5'4", but they're basically the same height. So maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Oh yeah, also there's some like texture bugs with the in-game models. If it's like white spots, I don't know why they did that. Please ignore that. Almost immediately, this is a Fortnite model. Okay, that's interesting. The things are parented. Okay, right off the bat, I think Mercy's shoulders seem to be a bit taller in her base skin. She's also slightly more reflective and seemingly more saturated, but that might just be an in-engine thing of, right, they're represented differently in their engines. The Fortnite model has bigger hands and longer arms, quite noticeably longer arms. Okay, yeah, it's all of the women. Okay, sorry. Basically, what I noticed is all of the Fortnite models have slightly shorter legs for the women, so their torsos have been lengthened to compensate. So that's why Tracer doesn't look super accurate to her game, but we'll get to her later. Yeah, so the hands are bigger. Yeah, stuff like that, I think that's just like, it's a glowing effect that didn't really port through. Hold on. I think her hips are narrower in the Fortnite model. Yeah, so her shoulders are lower down, torso's longer, and her hips are slightly narrower. And then they added like a hair texture that Overwatch doesn't really have. Instead, Overwatch kind of sculpts the hair, so it's more like a 3D object. Yeah, if I go into render, yeah, that's worse. So that's interesting. As a final thing, we're gonna slide them in together. See if we know any differences. I think they're not at the same plane because here we go. Now we get the money. Now we get the money. All right, so yeah, now we can really kind of, I have no idea how well this is going to go through YouTube compression. They just kind of seem to alter her posture a bit to probably compensate for the different size torso. Her head basically stops at the same spot, but it kind of has to curve differently because the spine's going to be in a bit of a different place because she's proportioned differently. Yeah, I was right. Yeah, you can see her hips are narrower in the Fortnite model. Oops, wrong thing. Holy moly. Okay, granted, like I lined up the feet, right? Yeah, they're not stanced the same width. Okay, wait, hold on. Is it the... Okay. We have their legs in the same spot now. Okay, you can even just see the base Overwatch model has like, that's a couple extra inches. Holy moly. They took cake from Mercy. Oh my goodness. That's gonna be kind of hard to see here. Holy moly! They took a couple inches off the top. Holy moly! Granted, some of it may be since her torso is longer now. Neck. Whoops, wrong thing. It's about the same size. Oh no, the neck's longer. Fortnite neck is longer. Okay. The hips are narrower. Oh, yeah, this is more of a posture thing. I can't really change that. Yeah, so that's Mercy. I don't know if there's anything else really to talk about with the two. Ignore the base facial poses. I think that's just the sake of the animators. Yeah, you can really see the size difference between this spot on her chest, right at the bottom of the sternum, right where the xiphoid process. I remember that about anatomy. It's a piece of cartilage that sometimes solidifies the bone. Yeah. All right, moving on to Tracer, who you probably came here for. Because if your Twitter feed is anything like mine over the last couple days, it's been filled with nothing but Tracer's cake. Baby, Papa's got a sweet tooth. Anyway, so I almost immediately clocked, looking at the models, is that the Fortnite model has shorter legs than the actual Overwatch game model. Yeah, you can tell this is the textures did import. So this is Fortnite, this is Overwatch. Or we're gonna ignore the colors because this one's kind of yellow tinted, this one's more orange tinted. This could also, again, the hair boil down to the engine and the lighting and all that. Yeah, but proportionally, they made Tracer's legs shorter, her torso longer, and to kind of compensate for the weird size difference, they made her waist smaller, which is interesting. And then the Fortnite model has larger hands. I think their side profiles are like identical. Yeah. Oh, and her arms are thinner, almost, than the Fortnite model. So they kind of just changed a lot of... The belts are bigger. Coronal accelerator is slightly chunkier. Shoulders about the same size. Facial features are like 1-to-1. Shoes. Sure, I got the shoes on. Anything with like the pants or suit, or I don't even know what it is. Is it a full body? Okay, so the so the base Overwatch model actually has her butt crack like fully creviced in. Holy shit, that is vacuum sealed to her. Whew. Anyway, I gotta stop looking at her butt. Yeah, so there's that. All right, let's just move them over top of each other. So to tell you guys, I was almost immediately right upon seeing her in the item shop. We can actually now look. Yeah, if you can see, I have no idea how well this is going to go through YouTube compression, but this, where my mouse is right now, is where the Overwatch model's pelvic bone ends, and then right where it is right here is where the Fortnite model ends. So you can kind of see the Fortnite model. Hold on, there we go. You can, wow, that's like a full 2 inches of extra leg. They kind of look so similar. I think the more yellow tinted leg is base Overwatch. Okay, there you go. You can see it there. So I think this may be more of a her butt is more. They didn't buff her butt. It seems what they did is they shortened her legs, lengthened her torso to kind of compensate for the shortened legs. It's more of like a tall, skinny glass or a short, thick glass. So it's like the same amount of mass, but distributed differently over different amount of volume, if I even use those words right. Or, okay, bottom butt is Fortnite, top butt is base Overwatch. Okay, they just kind of moved it up, really, seemingly. Hold on, wait. One of them has thicker legs. What is this? I think globally, base Overwatch Tracer does have more junk in the trunk, technically, compared to the Fortnite one. But it's like an optical illusion almost, because of they shrunk her waist so much that through... Yeah, you can see how her waist is like a couple inches smaller. Yeah, so it's... This one is actually got a bigger caboose. Fortnite did not buff her. They just changed her proportions. All right, we're going to look at D.va now. Okay, this is the in-game model, and then this is the Fortnite model. Why she is textured like that, I don't know. Okay, yeah, longer arms almost immediately. Ignore the eye shape. That's just a default pose thing. Slightly different coloring. Again, I think a trend is they shortened all the legs to probably fit the base Fortnite armature. It looks better over here. Granted, this isn't what probably the Fortnite artists work with. This is just kind of the tasty rig from Fortnite porting. Side note, I did use Fortnite porting to get these into Overwatch, and then I went to the Discord server of DataWatch, and then used some plugins from that, ran some quick lines of very basic code, and then got the models into here. So now we have them. Okay. Yeah, just the hair is textured differently, bigger hands, longer arms, shorter legs, slightly thinner hips. I'm gonna ignore the texturing because I think that's just kind of an engine thing. I don't think there's that much substantially different. Material, is there anything different back here? She's just kind of more saturated in the base Overwatch model. Moment of truth. Ooh. Oh yeah, here you can really see the shortened legs change the where the knees are, so the knees are lowered down now, which is interesting. Yeah, you can see the pelvis is kind of sticking through. Holy moly, her shoulders are way lower too. More saturated is base Overwatch, paler with the weird sheen is Fortnite. Okay, yeah, her shoulders are way further down. Chest is far lower, just like the whole rib cage. Holy, they took so much of her caboose. Right here, that is base Overwatch. That's Fortnite. They took her butt. Holy, I thought they took Tracer's butt. No, when D.va said nerf this, they took that a little too seriously. Oh my goodness. Never mind. Hold on, I may be wrong. Let's try that again. Run it back, run it back. I got him. Nope, they took her butt. But it's taller now. What? Okay, they made her hips narrower, but her butt's still the same size. It's just lower down. We are scholars at this channel. We only do the important things here. We progress society. That's what we do. We are trailblazers. We are trendsetters here. We're asking the important questions. I think that's enough D.va. We can leave her for now. Now, Big Man Genji. Big Man Genji. All right. The right one is base Overwatch. The left one is Fortnite. Interestingly, it seems base Overwatch has bigger hands? Yeah, it looks like base Overwatch has slightly bigger hands, which is interesting. This is a bit more orange tinted. This is more red tinted. A bit more fully saturated and separated in value. Bussin', Bushin. I didn't know it said that there. Is his head smaller? Hold on. Is his head bigger here? Am I tripping? I may have to overlay them. You look about the same size. Well, let's get them overlapped. All right. Was I right about the hands? Let's do it again. I love this so much. Oh wait, hold on. Well, that was what I want. There we go. So it seems either base Overwatches has wider hands, or the bones in the rig have been widened by base. Head's like in the exact same spot. I think the shoulders we can ignore because I think it's just the hand position. Feet are the same size. This is like a near one-to-one replica of him, except its legs are the same length. His head is... yeah, that's close enough. I can't even see an edge. Feet check. I think they're the same size. I don't know about you. Okay, they both have the claw things on the bottom of them. Taking a look. It's just kind of textured slightly differently, not too much. This tassel was made seemingly shorter. He's basically one-to-one for the most part, besides the hands and the tassel and the texturing on him. This is all from the base Overwatch. I don't have the Fortnite items. I don't feel like it. Yeah, that's Genji, it seems. So, proportions kept far closer to base Overwatch. We now know through astute deductive reasoning that Overwatch lengthens most of the women's legs for stylistic choices, as well as it kind of forces, I think, the hips to be wider. It's probably, it makes women look more attractive. That's probably the baseline of it, which is a choice. It's not a good or bad choice. It's a stylistic thing. You can give long legs to other characters, like Reaper has really long legs as well as really long arms. It's a stylistic thing, but it does seem to be mostly done to women within Overwatch. That's probably the end of this. I don't know if I'll do any animations with these characters. I'll likely have to tweak some of the rigs because you guys saw how kind of wacky the bones looked compared to a more traditional rig. This video kind of, the whole aim of it was to, the whole reason I wanted to compare them was I almost immediately clocked that Tracer's legs were shorter in Fortnite. And I was like, I wonder what else they changed. Because maybe one was like 8 heads tall and one was 7.5 heads tall. Granted, they didn't seem to do that, besides maybe lowering Mercy's shoulders and then narrowing her hips to kind of fit the hitbox of Fortnite. Fortnite, as a general trend, seemed to get way better at proportioning characters after about 2023 or starting in 2023. Because yeah, you can look at a character like when they made Korra or Korra's skin, she looks pretty faithful to kind of the proportions she had in the show, even like the size of her forearms and her upper arm. But a character like Violet from Arcane didn't really have the same look when they made her skin, but granted, I think her skin was made back in 2021, so that was probably before they were able to more accurately represent some of the proportions. I don't know why. I'm not saying it's like it's bad to not represent the proportions, but I'm not sure what changed. Of maybe internally they just got like something with the rigs figured out and they could change it. I doubt I'll have many other videos on this channel like this, because I don't know if I'll ever import any other games assets into Blender, because it might be a bit of a headache. I hope you enjoyed. I hope we all appreciated checking out some cake in the bakery. We ask the important questions here, like I said. With that, take care.